All right. Hello again, everybody. So let's just go over some more tips and things that I've learned over the last year. So we can start with something called filter decks. Filter decks are basically a way to make a temporary deck that covers, that pulls cards from two different places. So it can pull from decks, it can pull from tags. um, or both. Either way, you can mix that up however you want. So the way you make a filtered deck is by coming up here into Tools and create a filtered deck here, or you can just press F when you're on the home screen of Anki. So I'll show you an example. So for my final in Neuro, what I did is I made a bunch of filtered decks, all of this in blue. I made a bunch of filtered decks for all of the corresponding lectures. That way, everything was really well organized, and I knew what I was seeing, what I was studying. And so you go through, and once you've gone through all of these cards here, you can just delete the deck, and it puts all of the cards back into their corresponding deck. So if it came from On King or Tour deck lecture. So. And the way I numbered it is 0, 1, period. And if you do just one period, it's going to put your number one with like 10. It's going to be one, then 10. And then if it goes to two, then it'll be two and then 20. And it just kind of gets mixed up. So I like to do 0, 1, period. Um, so yeah, we can press F to make a filtered deck. So we can do 0, 1, test. So you'll need to make a second filter. So there's first filter and then filter two. What you're going to do here is search. We can go, so let's say you're studying Neuro 1 and your first lecture is accessory organs of the eye, right? So this is in Anki Hub optional, Touro deck, Touro 1, and then into Neuro 1, accessory organs of the eye. So you will come up here. Well, first, before you do anything, you need to make sure that these are unsuspended. So you can unsuspend that here. Then you can, you need to copy this. So Command C that. You can press S, escape or X. And then we will take that we copied and press paste. Okay, we need to make sure that the limit is high enough that it's going to pull all of the cards that were there. So if we go back into this, we can see 29 cards, right? 29 cards. So we have plenty there. We don't need to adjust that filter. So this is for the On King. We made our first filter for On King. Then we need to go in and make the filter for Tour Deck Lecture. So this is from Anki Hub. That's how I just like to pull from Anking from the Anki Hub tab up here. And then to get to my Tour Deck lecture, I've always just gone into decks here. There are other ways to get to it through tags, but that's just the way that I've found that I like it. Um, so we can go here, accessory organs of the eye, under decks, Tour Deck lecture, Tour 1, Neuro 1, accessory organs of the eye. We need to make sure these are all unsuspended. Okay. And then we will go in, copy that, press escape, and then we can paste this into our second filter. So then we need to make sure that our limit is greater than 51. So I always just set it to 1,000 or 999, or I just add on a zero to whatever was there. Um, and then these right here, they don't really matter as much. What matters is that you are getting this correct. You can also do is colon new, and it will only pull cards that are new that you've never seen before. Or you can do is do, and it will ignore the new cards and only pull from the cards that you've already seen, but you need to review. So Typically, when you're doing this at the beginning of a lecture, at the beginning of a block, I just leave this blank. Or if you only want to pull from the new cards, will just leave that extra bit in is new. So let's see, got the name right, got our on king filter with enough limit. I haven't found this to matter as much. Then we have our second Tour deck lecture filter limit high enough. And we got it all named correctly. Now press build. Okay, so we can see that 80 cards were pulled between the two. So we can go into that. Um, so let's see. So there's a few different options that you have down here. You can empty it with E. So now all of the cards have returned to On King Step Deck and Tour Deck Lecture. Um, by the way, I'm going back to the main homepage by pressing D. Um, so so yeah, 30, 51. I already had one card in here earlier, so uh, and then we can rebuild it by pressing R or pressing down here. Typically, when you hover over a button, that shows you the shortcut, the keyboard shortcut. So options is how you can edit it again. If you did something wrong, you can fix it here. And then, yeah, if you don't need it anymore, you can just press empty. You don't have to delete these when you're done. You can leave them here and just press empty. In case you want to revisit material more specifically, you can have a bunch of these decks built up. So like if I finish this here, I can just press empty and it will all go to here. So when in the morning, when I'm doing my reviews, all I have to do is click on this, do my reviews, and then I can do like the second deck, so triangles of the neck too. And then I will just press empty. And then the next day, I'll just log on, do everything in both of these. And then these will just be zeroed out. But if I felt like I needed to restudy these or focus on these, then I could just rebuild the filter by pressing R to rebuild. So yeah, that's kind of how you can build filtered decks pretty simply. It's useful for organizing and yeah, so I'll clip this, do another segment here. Okay, so now we can go over making cards. So that's going to be with pressing add up here. You can also just press A. You hover over it, and let's see. Hover over it, shows you the shortcut. So you can press A. So this is the type of card that it is. On King Overhaul is what the On King Step Deck uses primarily. So when you're making a card that can matter, um, so typically you can use On King Overhaul. The one that most of the cards in the Touro deck lecture use is this one right here, the V3 version. So yeah, you can just pick whatever one you want. So I usually do this one. The deck that can be into anything. There might be default. Yeah. So you can add a deck from here too. You can also add a deck from down here. So test. So there's our test right there. We can also rename this, add a period in front of it so it goes to the very top, or put it in brackets and it will go to the very bottom. You technically don't need this second bracket, but uh, so we can go into here. You can also add cards from within here. So that's going to be going into test. Let's just add a bracket right there. Okay. So adding a card, this is our type. These are different places where stuff can show up within the card. Typically, you're only worrying about text and extra. So extra is going to be on the back side of the card. Text is going to be everything on the front of the card. Everything else just doesn't really matter a whole lot. It's a lot to worry about. The other V3 version, um, right here, has this stuff a little bit different. But I think this is typically the best one to use. Um, so you can say this is a test, and in order to make this a close, right, you just go Command Shift C, and that makes it a close right there. So all it is two brackets, then C1, and then two colons, and then whatever you're closing, and then two brackets. So if you were to do that again, another test, you can highlight that, Command Shift C, and then it does C2. And then, and again, and then it does C3. So it just keeps going on and on. So if we were to add this, and then we could press escape out of here. We're in our test, study now. So this is a test, right? So, and then for a second card, another test, going through a C3. So pretty simple. That's just how close works. Many of you probably already familiar with that. Um, there is another type of card, image occlusion. So you can just any picture, you can paste it into here. So you can take a screenshot of whatever you're trying to occlude, and I'll show you what that looks like just right here. So I have some settings that I like. If you go into keyboard in settings for Mac, if you search keyboard, then go into keyboard shortcuts, and then to screenshots. The two that I have found most useful, if you do save picture of selected area as a file, which is Shift Command 3, and then copy picture of selected area to the clipboard, uh, Shift Command 4. So basically, when you do Shift Command 3, that is going to make an image, shows up down here, and then it will show up down on your desktop. But if you were to just do it to the clipboard, Command Shift 4, that's just saving it to my clipboard. It's not showing up right here, and it's not gonna end up right there. So if you're making hundreds of cards, you don't want like a million of these or, you know, all over your desktop. So you can just do Command Shift 4, take a screenshot, and then you can paste it, right? Command V. And then occlude image is another very useful thing. So let's see, that pulls up this little thing right here. You can do occlude it. You can just drag right there and drag right there. And if we want both of these to be, well, first I will show you hide one, guess one. That if you were to hide all, that would hide both of these, and then you have to reveal one of those at a time. If you hide one, guess one, it only hides this one. But then there's another card that's just hiding this one. So we can do hide one, guess one. So I added those two cards. We can press close, and then we can come over here, go into this. So right there, it's all red. The other one that we made is not appearing, but then we just do that. And then we have our second one right there. So we can get that out of there. Let's see, we can make another image occlusion here. Let's see, it should be right here. Okay, and so now we can just drag here. You can also adjust the colors of these things like that with this. If you want to put them together, if you have two separate, you shift and then click on both of them. And then you can come up here to group elements, press that. So now they're together, but they're separate. This is kind of cool. Pretty useful, pretty nifty. Hide all, guess one. You can do that, or hide one, guess one. So I'll go back into this. So this is the, well, it technically doesn't matter, but now you are able to reveal both of those. And this is the hide one, guess one, hide all, guess one. It's the same thing, pretty much when you group them together. So that's that. So that is close types. That is image occlusion. Showed you the settings for screenshots. I want to show one more thing. So if you're making a card in here with the On King overhaul, you can scroll all the way down, and there's this group, or there's this element called one by one. If you press Y in this, and if you do this is a test, and you do close on each of them, and you make sure that each of them is C1. So we're just changing these, see how they're all C1. Um, that, let's see, and then we add that. We have one card with multiple different closes in it. And you can change this. So this is the card type that appears a few times in the Touro deck lecture and in the On King step deck. You can click on this emoji. It's a crown in I was testing this earlier, so that's why it's this wilted flower. But it's a crown normally. But I'll show you how to change that. You can click on that there. This is, you can press reveal next, or you can do toggle all, and that reveals everything. I'll show you more about with the remote, the Anki, the 8-bit Do remote. I'll show you how to make that work for that uh, this remote. But the reveal next shortcut is N. So let's see. Let's go back to this. We can go back into it. So we can press N, or we can press comma to reveal all, to toggle all. So comma. That shows us everything. So there's an example card here that I found in the On King step deck that uses it. So branches of the I think it's the external carotid artery can be remembered with some angry ladies fight off PMS. So that's they have a lot of funny mnemonics. So so yeah, the wilted rose, you can click on that. So external carotid artery. Um, so oops, let's see, go back. Let's see, undo that. Um, let's see, what is the one? Angry ladies. Start up EMS. So was it? I think it was this one. We can reset that. Okay, now that's going to show up here. Study now. Okay, branches of this. So if you press good, it's just going to move through it. But you have to press these reveal next, um, or N or comma, okay, to move through all of those. Okay, that is close, image occlusion, and the one by one type. So you can actually edit this. So you can press E on any card, or you can go down here to edit. But press E to edit, so you can see everything here. The extra, you could see all this was on the back side of the card. So if we go, we can go and do that. Let's see. Control Z or Command Z to undo that. So you can see everything that's extra is not showing yet until we move through everything. So the last, so that's extra. That's the same way for just a regular close type card. So instead of the one by one, because this is the one by one. So if we press E to edit, um, we can go all the way down here. And these are all like sketchy mnemonics and pictures. You can delete this Y. So one by one, yes. You can delete that. And then it will change it to a regular close card. So you can press edit again, and you can change that to like a two, and it's going to make a second card, right? So that's your C2, and everything else is just your C1. So now it's a um, regular close card. So we can change that back to a one, and then go all the way down and change that to a Y. So now they're all roses. I can show you real quick. If you press edit, um, you can go up to, let's see. So fields is like, text extra. That's what this is up here. Text extra. That's what these things are. If you like get really into making cards, you can figure out that more. But cards right here, this is how you change the emoji. So front template, back template, just if you're into like changing that. But uh, yeah, you just delete this here, change it to whatever, and then save that, go back. Now they're all crowns. Okay. Um, I think that's everything for making cards that I can think of. Screenshots. Yep. Cool. Okay, so now we can go into something called FSRS, which is like a more modern version of the spaced repetition software. So normally when you do your cards, you have this interval down here. Let's see, let's move this. Where it's like 1 minute, 6 minute, 10 minute, and then easy is some random different number. There are ways to change what these are, but with FSRS, it it's a better way to space out your repetitions. So the way it is when you first open Anki is it is basically if you mess up a card, it resets everything down here. Is I'm pretty sure how that works. But with and I might be wrong there. Um, but with FSRS, it remembers how if you've gotten things correct or not. So basically, if you get a card incorrect, like if you're going through this and you don't remember everything about this card, then you need to press again. If you remember everything, but it was really difficult, you're going to press hard, which is still technically correct. So um, basically, you got the card correct, is hard, good, or easy. But if you're pressing again, that means you got it wrong. So with that in mind, um, we can go into options. So this is something that helps your spaced repetition, the intervals, be more targeted towards your actual memory of them. So it's just something that's not automatically done when you first open Anki. So that's why it's something that you want to do. One of the first things you want to do. It's something that you do once and you really just forget about it and move on. So, and you can click on these things and they can show you better free spaced repetition scheduler. It's an alternative, and it's more accurately determining how likely you are to forget a card. So if you set your desired retention to 90%, like point, you can do, like 92. 92% of the time, it's going to make sure you're getting that card right. So if you set it to 100% of the time, that means, or 99% of the times, that means 99 times out of 100 that you see that card, you're getting it right, which means you're going to have to see it a lot more often to get it right that many times. But if you were to set this to like 50%, then um, one in two times that you see that card, you get it correct, you're going to see it a lot less. So basically, the higher this number is, the more often you see cards, the heavier your load can be with seeing cards. Your reviews will be a lot higher per day if you have a higher value with this. Anywhere from like 90 to 93 is pretty good. You can have this lower if, depending on how things work for you. If you're seeing cards too often and you're doing really well, then you could probably change this to either lower or higher. But you can play around with optimize current preset or yeah, I don't really truly know a whole lot about this. I just know that you want to flip this switch on. and set your retention between like 90 and 93. But yeah, I encourage you guys to do research to like more research to figure out uh, best how you can set this up for yourself. Um, but this has been, I think, working pretty well for me when I've been doing my regular blocks. So um, yeah, but um, that's one thing that you should set up is FSRS. Okay, so normally your sync button is going to be blue like this. Anytime you do a card, make any adjustments to a card, like small adjustments, like text adjustments or whatever, it's just going to turn blue. And you can press Y to sync. Um, but sometimes it can turn red. And one of those times that it can turn red is if you were to, for example, like change a note type to a different note type. So like all of these cards are onking overhaul. If I were to change them to like the V3 version, it's going to change these fields. And then let's see, we can do that. Press escape. It's going to make it red, which is going to, when we sync, if you made that adjustment on this device, you're always going to want to do upload. But for example, if you're studying on whatever device you make the major adjustment on that made it red, you should do upload. But if you have like an iPad or an iPhone that you also study on, and you get this prompt and you didn't make any changes, you should always do download because that means you probably made an adjustment on your computer. And so if you were to upload to Anki Web, whatever's on that device is going to overwrite whatever changes have been made on your whatever other devices. So if you made a change that's important, you're going to want to upload. I typically pretty much 9 times out of 10, you're pressing upload to Anki Web. And then if I'm setting on my iPad, I'm going to do download from Anki Web. So I will just, I'll probably just undo that, change note type. Um, so I don't have to deal with that. Um, let's see. That's everything with that. Okay, so let's look at two different. So for your blocks, you're going to have practicals where you're studying cadavers. Um, I two major decks that are really good for making decks for these practicals. One of them is Comprehensive Cadaver. The other one is the University of Michigan Blue Link Atlas. So the way you get the U of M Blue Link Atlas is you have to subscribe to it in the Anki Hub. These are copyright. There's like issues with copyright. So this other one, Comprehensive Cadaver, is not going to be on that Anki Hub because of copyright issues. So you have to find this one in Reddit. And then University of Michigan, you just search it here, subscribe to it. And it's going to take a while for those thousands of images to sync and download onto your device. So you need to keep your device like awake, not not going to sleep or whatever, in order for everything to download and appear properly. And then this, just search comprehensive cadaver Reddit. It should look like this. If you scroll down to download link, click here, it's going to open you to a Google Drive. And that's a really big file too. But those are really good for building anatomy decks. Um, I made the I made I was making the anatomy decks for the last like few blocks. Ben Earl was another guy who was making them. So and what I was doing is I was pulling from Comprehensive Cadaver and University of Michigan. So because these are pre-made decks, like let's say I need a picture of the superior cerebellar artery. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to press Command Shift A to add a tag, or you can just right click on it, press Notes, and then add tag. So same thing there, but I like Command Shift A. It's a lot faster when you're doing bulk stuff. Um, so then you can add a tag, and what's going to happen is if I collapse this dex side right here, it's going to show up in your tags right here. So these practicals things right here, I made a, let's see, repro practical. So comprehensive cadaver, it came from like that deck, and you can see there should be some Michigan blue link. Yeah. Okay. Here's some Michigan blue link. So this came from, yeah, University of Michigan. And that's tagged with let's see, uh practicals, repro practical. So you can see this says practicals right here, and then repro practical. And see how it's like all sub-tagged? The way you make a sub-tag is by doing two colons. And then it will make it like technically like a child is like what it's called. If I right click on that, collapsed children. So they're like, I don't, it's interesting, but collapsed children, and then this is like a parent to these two. So when you're making like a parent, that thing, you do that based off of colons. So that's pretty much how, um, and you can see that pretty much everywhere. Like this stuff right here, you can see the colons. If you're clicking like Anki Hub, let's see, you're gonna see it here, all these colons. That's how you get these arrow drop down things. So for example, let's say we're here. Press browse again. Let's escape that. Press browse again. Okay, now we're back to our comprehensive cadaver deck. And superior cerebellar artery. We can do Command Shift A, add a tag. So practicals, we can do test, and it takes a little bit to lag because there are a lot of tags. Test, and then we could do for underscore video, and you can see um, we can do that as Anki, whatever. You can see over here test for video Anki, and it's got this card that we put in there. We can just delete that tag. We can also see it over here. So it's really nice. Now there's no card in there because we deleted it off of that one, and then we can just delete it from here. Um, so yeah, that's how tags work. Pretty simple. You can see with the Anki Hub stuff, if we go to Anki Hub optional and Touro, we can look at this one. You can see there's just so many tags. And so what's going on here is like you can go to one of these. Um, let's see. Anking Step 1 First Aid. You can see Anking Step 1 Boot Camp, Anking Step 1 Boot Camp, Anking, let's see, Zonky. So you can just follow that. So this is a tag. So you go to the, was that hashtag AK original. Um, so you can go to tag AK original, and then Zonky's in here, right? So step one, Zonky's, step dex, Zonky hematology. Um, that's how they have step one. Amboss is all subtagged in here. You'll see, I can explain this when I'm talking about add-ons, what all this is. Um, Boards and Beyond has it tagged by video. So if you want to do derm, click derm. Let's see, I'll do a better one. Genetics, genetic concepts, genetic principles. Yeah, so you can see the 51 cards for this video that covers genetic principles. So everything is in Boards and Beyond. You can see there's 21,000 cards um, that have been tagged from this. Step one, there's 31,000 cards. Um, Overall, with all of the cards. See, on King has let's see, 26,000. Let's see. There's you can see how many cards there are. There's so many cards. Um, but yeah, I think that's a I hope that explains kind of how things are named and subdivided. You can do the same thing here. Like if you want to create a deck, let's get this out of here. Create a deck. Let's see, same colon thing right there. Two colons right here. And that just makes the drop down, right? So other than the drop down, then cadaver, then this right here. So that's kind of just how I organize things, and that is the two major cadaver decks. Um, so yeah. All right, now let's do the very fun stuff with Anki. Uh, you can go, so all the add-ons is all the cosmetic stuff, the functional things that you can do with Anki to make it different. This right here is a heat map, shows you your reviews, the stuff that's going to be due in the future, the stuff that you've done in the past. Geez, that was a heavy day. Um, so yeah, and then this bar up here, progress bar within a card on the bottom. This stuff down here, I think it's advanced review bottom bar. So I'll show you these things up in the tools. Tools, add-ons. So advanced review bottom bar was that one that let's see. Let's get that over here. Okay. So I mean that makes everything look cool. You can just search this up, advanced review bottom bar add-on, and what you do, you just take this code and copy it, and then you do get add-ons, enter that code right there, press OK, and then it's going to install, but you're going to have to exit out of Anki. You're going to have to click out of it here, and then reopen it. Every time you do an add-on, that's got to happen. Um, so we can go back up to tools, add-ons. So the advanced review bottom bar is that how you make your review buttons colorful, or you can adjust that. Emboss is extremely useful. Um, uh, yeah, so advanced review bottom bar, you can see ARBB is the thing right there. You can adjust all the stuff right there. Ton of customization you can do. Um, and then yeah, this is how you just make it look colorful right here. Yeah, like can glow, has a halo and stuff. Um, so then if we do, let's see, we can undo that. Um, we can do so. I just pressed comma there to reveal everything. So this right here is all amboss, all of these underlines. It's super useful when you come across something that's like, I have no idea, like Kieselbach's plexus, um, that underlines, and now you can see it's like, oh, it's okay. It's arteries in the nasal septum, and that's that plexus. And so it's like, yeah, epistat, so nosebleeds is what's related to that. So you can click on it, and it will pull up. It'll pull up right here. You can see is this amboss button. It opens your last page, but you can see that's like a picture, Kieselbach plexus, just lots of tons of like information on it. Um, so let's see, epistaxis classification. So Kieselbach plexus, yeah, ton about it. Gives you ton of superficial temporal artery. We can click down here. Gives you a short little synopsis. I think it's super useful. Amboss is definitely highly recommend. I think it's one of the things that you need to have. Anki and Amboss are super together. They're a powerhouse. Um, but you can see superficial temporal artery. So it's branches of the external carotid artery. These are all the branches which correspond to like this stuff up here and that whole mnemonic. and giant cell arteritis. There's like a clinical correlate right there. Um, so yeah, that's Amboss. Super useful add-on. I highly recommend it. They have this like dictionary, doctor's dictionary or whatever. I don't know what this is called. Like Wikipedia thing. That's like its own separate subscription for like $140 for like 2 years. And then they have a more expensive question bank. Um, so and that's like a separate subscription, but you can do a question bank session based off of like practically anything, which is awesome. Um, so you can go to the home screen and you can do uh, a question bank based off of your most recently matured cards. You can also do it from in here based off of like, so like let's say I want to go into here, Anki optional, go into Neuro 1, accessory organs of the eye. I want to do questions based off of that, so I can press up here. It found 7 questions based off of these 29 cards. So you can start a question bank session based off of that. And you can also do those questions in the Amboss website. And if you have issues with certain questions, you can press get Anki cards. And when you get those Anki cards, let's see what's it will open up uh it will base it all off of, so if you Anki step 1, Amboss right here, all of these weird things are like cards that talk about a certain um topic. So if you miss questions based off of these topics, this is where this like special code will take you. So I don't know, just kind of like a hidden random thing, I guess. So that's Amboss. Let's get out of there. Tools, add-ons, Anki leaderboard, really fun. To really fun to like compete with your friends. I do it. There's like a little setting where you can have it appear right here, but I didn't want to show everybody my friends' usernames to like dox them. Um, so let's see. Um, Anki Hub is the add-on that you need for everything Anki Hub related to work. So these two decks, like those come from Anki Hub. Same with the University of Michigan Blue Link. That comes from the Anki Hub. So you have to have that for those things to work. Um, uh, that I don't even know. I've never used this. Basic printing support. I tried using this one time to print Anki cards, but it didn't work very well. So I'll just disable that. Colorful tags, that's what I was using to um, do this to make it red. So you can assign a color right there. Um, do whatever you want. You can't do it to like these ones, like the technically parents, but you can do it to like the children, I guess. Um, so assign a color or whatever. So that is the colorful tags. So Kontanki. Uh, let's go over Kontanki. Well, I'll save that for later. Actually, I'll just do it right now. Kontanki. So there's two different ways to connect your controller to Anki. Um, so this controller, I use the 8-bit DO, right? To um, to control everything because it sucks to do. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the shortcuts for like this shortcut is 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also press spacebar, which counts as good. So you can have your keyboard or your hand resting on the keyboard, like covering 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think that sucks. So everybody just uses a remote. So the way you set that up, so you get this, there's like a special way to pair it. You have to hold down like A and the power button at the same time for it to like pair to a Mac or whatever. So let's see, up in tools, controller options is where it will appear once the controller has connected. But if it hasn't connected yet, this will be gone. Let's see, settings right here, Anki remote connected. It has like a different name. It can be like some, I forget what it's called, but it can be named like something weird. Um, so let's see, controller options. So this is Contonki, right? That is the add-on. There's another software called Carabiner. So let's see. Carabiner. People use Carabiner, people use Contonki. I prefer Contonki because it means when I close my computer, my remote will turn off. If you use Carabiner, it can like stay on. So um, yeah, but this allows your Anki remote to be used for anything on your computer. You can like connect it. There's a lot more customization for everything else on your computer. But if you use it just for Anki, I highly recommend just Contonki. So um, if you remember those one by one card types where you could press N as a shortcut. If you make this custom action, reveal next, close, and I spelled close wrong, but you can do N as the shortcut. So that will create an option in here called reveal next, close. And that is how you can bind. That's how you can reveal each card or each close type. So, anyways, that took like months to figure out. I was trying to figure out some solution for forever, but that's how you do that. So the two tabs that you're gonna matter that you're gonna worry about the most are question and answer. These are practically the same. You can only see that the difference is these flip cards and then answer is good. You know, you can press the button to see which one refers to which one. Um, I have, these are all my settings. Undo and suspend card, I like those. I have sync as one. I have bury card as one. Um, and then reveal next close. If I push this up button, that's what shows up. And then back. So yeah, reveal next close is that shortcut for just the letter N. Um, so when you go into a card, um, and you press forward, um, so you can press forward arrow, right? And so you can go down and then up just like that. I think it's super useful. Um, yeah, that's Kontanki. Um, it's good stuff. We can do another add-on, custom background image and gear icon. So I think that was made by Anki, so that's why it's up here. Um, Custom background and gear icon. So that's how I got this whole background. I used ChatGPT to make this image. And then I found this .png file for this is like, I guess it's called an icosahedron, but it's just a 20 sided die, like a D&D thing, because I'm a nerd. So you go to on King, custom background, gear icon, image name for the background. So you can press those three dots, find the file. These are the stock ones that it comes with. But you have to add these in. So an easy way to do that is you can do well, and then here too, right? These are the stock ones that it comes with. I added these. Um, so do open image folders. It will take you over here. Um, so the background, well, let's see. You can do gear. So throw in your custom gear into this one, and then the background, throw in you just drag and drop from like over here into this. Um, and then from there, you can go back over here and then click it for the background. And so like, yeah, the corresponding file, basically. It's background up there. So that is that. Let's see, video tutorial, I guess. Um, add-ons, FSRS helper. So this is nice if you set up FSRS, go to tools, you can drag down auto. Let's see. So all these add-ons, by the way, if you need to find them, just Google this thing and then add-on, Anki add-on, and it will take you to the site. Scroll down to get that code and then add it into this. So we can cover FSRS helper. So a lot of useful things in here. I haven't explored everything on these. You can do set up an Anki easy day. So like weekend, Saturday or Sunday or something like that. You can set that up. Um, so less cards will show up on that day. You can postpone cards so that you don't have to see as much in a day. Um, this is useful too. Siblings are those two close. If you have a close one and then a close two, that's technically a sibling because they're two different cards, but they're like the same card basically. I don't know. There's some useful stuff with that as well. Um, go to um, I think these are natively so image editor is useful. Image occlusion enhanced is an old add-on that I think is natively included into Anki, so you don't have to get this as an add-on anymore. Um, progress bar is useful. So up here, that's what this is. You can adjust the gradient. These are my settings. Copy them if you want a similar look. Um, we can go to, let's see, image editor, skip that one. So if you go into a card, and then we can, let's see, study now. We can press E to edit this card. And then if we want a picture, so let's say we do Command Shift 4 to get a picture. So we can do that. And then we can paste it. And then we can right click this. We can do Edit Image. And this takes us into a separate window where if we adjust this down lower, that allows us to like type on it. It's kind of like it's not the best software or like the best add-on for I'm sure there's a better image editor, but I've used this a lot of times for if I need to just like really quickly edit an image inside of Anki, then I'll just use this. So I think it's pretty useful for that. Um, let's see, tools, progress bar, Quizlet Anki. Sometimes friends will um, rely on Quizlet and they'll just like they'll never upgrade to Anki. So they'll make useful decks within Quizlet, but you will want them into your Anki. So what you can do is how do I do this? Yeah, import from Quizlet. So you can do that there and you type in the URL and then yeah, turn off the download audio because it can take a lot longer to do. So if you uncheck that, it'll take a lot less time. Let's see, let's get out of here. Um, so yeah, the Quizlet thing I've found to be pretty useful. Review heat map. That is this thing right here. Just shows you how heavy a day is going to be. So June 19th, I'm gonna have 234 cards to do. In the past, like 1,500 cards that I did on this. It's nice to see it that way. These are the settings that I have. Um, I don't have that. I don't have any adjustments on that page. Um, and then symbols as you type. Let's see. View files? No. Symbols as you type. I forget where to see that. But symbols as you type, let's see. Let's go to the add-on page. Drag this over to that. Okay. Um, this is useful because as you type, you can make your arrows look like from this over to this. You can turn fractions into that. Basically, you type whatever in between colons and um, let's see, we can go to any card. And if we were to go down, type a colon, and we want to do an up arrow, we can type capital N, which is north, and boom. We can do east, we can do south, west, right? We can also do just a regular sideways arrow, which is like this, boom. All it is just the colon and then whatever. If you want like a delta, you can do lowercase and uppercase, right? Different symbols there. Really useful for that thing to make things like look better. But let's see. Preview is another thing, Command Shift P. Um, so yeah, this is how the Amboss underline usually looks. It's like this brighter blue. I just turned it into um, I just adjusted it. But you can pretty much adjust most of these add-ons. So um, yeah, I think that's pretty much everything for all of the add-ons. I can't really think of anything else. There's some fun add-ons like hit markers, like gamifies it even more, where it's like a video game hit marker makes like a Call of Duty sound. Speed focus mode is useful if you like are having a hard time focusing and you just need to get through stuff. It can like force you, you only have like 30 seconds. You can adjust those settings. Um, to answer in a period of time. Otherwise, it will reveal the card for you and then answer it for you if you're taking too long. So if you're trying to focus, that's good. But it's not always good all the time. Um, let's see. And then there's another one that's like a cat rewards you or like little puppies or something every 10 cards. It like shows you a picture of puppies is something my roommate has done. Um, yeah, so I think that's everything that I can come up with. Um, but yeah.